Welcome to Keep Going, a podcast about failure and success, hosted by John Biggs. Every week, we talk to an amazing person about a time they failed and what they learned. And remember, when you're going through hell, keep going.
Welcome back to Keep Going, a podcast about success and failure. I'm John Biggs. Today on the show, we have Steve Rad. He's a founder of Abacus Brands and a new founder of a brand new thing called Backdrop.com, which has Backdrop Alive, which sounds kind of cool. Static backgrounds that turn into real things.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, Backdrop.com has been around for some years. Mm-hmm. We primarily provide display solutions and backdrops for trade shows, events, showrooms.
Oh, I gotcha.
Weddings, whatever the event may be. Backdrop Alive is a new platform that takes the backdrop, the static backdrop, and creates an augmented reality type of an experience, an immersion, or in the form of a mini game or some kind of an activation in that environment. So it's a brand new technology that we just launched.
So when you walk up to like the backdrop or whatever, point your phone at it and you see whatever, dinosaur or something wild.
Exactly. It's kind of like the Back to the Future Part 2 thing where the shark, tries to eat you. But, the idea came about at CES. We saw a huge line of folks one day waiting to spin a prize wheel. And then we noticed that when people were spinning this prize wheel, they were just kind of being handed like whatever prize, and they maybe had to fill out a lead form. And we were like, this isn't a simple automation here where we can put the booth attendee or the booth staff for any company and can initiate a conversation and say, hey, let me show you something cool. Point their iPad, whatever device they're holding at their backdrop. We create a target or trigger where it says, hey, if you see whatever this DK logo, pop out a prize wheel or pop out a race car game or pop out a claw machine game. And then effectively the user plays it, wins something, whether they accrue discounts or whether they win a giveaway. They would then enter their email right there on the spot. And then you've now created, a CRM contact. You've now created a lead that's going to get an email from your brand, from your company with outreach and ask them to, kind of complete the purchase or receive their whatever giveaway or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Right. So it kind of adds ROI to the entire event and to the entire full cycle. You know now, hey, let's go to the Dallas show again, whatever, it had 58 activations that we did there and they resulted in 56% of sales, versus should we do the Atlanta show again? There was nobody really played the game that day, right? So it kind of just creates a gamified ROI metric that you can attach to shows.
And you also have the Abacus Brands, which are like VR kits for kids, science kits, that sort of thing. Yeah,
exactly. Abacus Brands are a toy company. And this is kind of, being founder of Backdrop and CEO of Abacus, you can see how Backdrop Alive was born. We kind of married the two worlds and, brought our talented dev team into the Backdrop world and said, hey, can you come up with, some engagement solutions here on the Backdrop side? But yeah, Abacus has won Toy of the Year. For our STEM items, we have a Nat Geo range we're launching. There's a DK range that's in Costco right now. So yeah, it's a phenomenal item for kids and adults.
So that's two companies you're running, which sounds like it might be a little bit of a little bit tiring. How do you manage that?
Well, we have some talented folks on both sides of the company. There's about a half a dozen folks that operate on both sides like I do. So, there's certain people that have their, like our CMO, for example, or CTO, they have their hands on both sides. But it's, if it wasn't a crazy obstacle every day and if it wasn't a different adventure every day, it wouldn't be as fun. And it keeps us all young, I guess. Right. So it's great. But we hire A-list talent and we cultivate, our folks internally and are really just proud of the team that we've built. So they keep it easy for me.
So tell me about the origin story of these businesses. Where did they all come from?
Backdrop was born out of necessity after the kind of financial crisis that occurred in 2009. I had a buddy that was in kind of the display world, and I had moved back to LA kind of on my knees and I was looking for just whatever the next thing was going to be for me. And he had an item that he couldn't figure out how to sell. So I took him and put him on eBay and Craigslist and started kind of slinging him out of the back of a car. in parking lots. So I would like show up to, at a Taco Bell parking lot and shake someone's hand and be like, hey man, good luck at your show, and sell them like the $100 little, counter or pop-up little display. Mm-hmm. So that kind of just culminated, and we bootstrapped it and started to put different assets together and different domains and websites together. And effectively tradeshowbooth.com was born, and then backdrop.com was shortly thereafter born. So that was just a great, origin story in the sense of it just being bootstrapped and starting literally from Craigslist. And then Abacus was kind of the product of having kids. I had a kid, and I was like, okay, there's got to be better toys out there that teach kids, some rudimental stuff from science to, whatever physics, whatever activities there are, but there's got to be a way to make it easier to digest and more fun. So we did that by, everyone's doing the, build a whatever, dig out a dinosaur project, but we're going to dig out the dinosaur and then take you to see dinosaur fossils around the world in virtual reality. We're going to do the, let's grow crystals, whatever project, but then put on the goggles and let's go dive into crystal caves and see what, the difference mm-hmm. between a stalactite, stalagmite, and kind of figure that out visually. So that's it. It was literally just seeing a need and understanding that there's got to be more fun ways to inspire and educate kids, and that's how kind of Abacus came about.
So I mean, it's you said it was like like the origin story was fairly like from Taco Bell parking lot. Were there any times when you couldn't sell for the life of you? Tell me about it. Tell me about a time where you got stuck.
Yeah, I mean, well, COVID was the biggest one. I mean, if you're in the event space. And, when Javits Center turns into a hospital, mm-hmm. right? All the convention centers are shut down for 2 years. I mean, we went from 20 people at that time down to 2 or down to 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we furloughed a lot of folks, and a lot of people came back, because we got lucky that it kind of, came back double time, right? Every show that kind of had stalled came back and was trying to recover. But that was a tough time. And then, the first couple of years with any business, right? The ramp up. In that process as we were kind of getting up and going, 2013, 14, 15. I mean, there was years where you're talking about 40K total in revenue, where it's barely enough to pay yourself, much less get help. Right. So yeah, I mean, the struggle is always real in the early stages, and then it kind of, finds its momentum and picks up, and, and we always operate, in a sense of urgency or just lean, thinking that the rug can get swept out at any moment, at any time. Mm-hmm. There could be a moment of panic. So never overextending ourselves, and just again, depending on the good folks that we hire, and building a team that we know can outlast any kind of condition, hopefully.
See, that seems like an interesting way to move, right? I mean, it's not what you want in your life, but that idea that the rug can get swept out from under you at any time, how do you plan for that? How do you control for that?
Yeah, I think it's by just staying lean and consistent. I mean, we there's a lot of things that we turn down, a lot of ideas we have to walk away from. I think a lot of folks that we've seen kind of, go under in both the toy or the backdrop world had just moved out of their lane at some point, right? You get excited and there's opportunities that come. And I think Steve Jobs said it best. It was not the stuff that you take action on. It's the stuff that you don't take action on, the stuff you pass on that will ultimately preserve the longevity of your brand, and just staying focused and staying in the lane that you're comfortable with and that you can achieve greatness in. So yeah, I think that's the key focus, especially for toys right now. I mean, there's so many brands, creators, influencers, opportunities for product design and inventors and collaborations, and so many things coming down our way. Licenses that for us, it's hoping not to excite too easily and kind of just stay focused and plan 2 years in advance, and could really have a roadmap of, right now we know what we're launching in 2027, for example. And mm-hmm. Is that even going to be relevant in 2027? Those are the questions that kind of come across our desk. But yeah, it's just kind of staying focused and staying lean.
Interesting. What do you recommend for folks who are trying to, I guess that's one thing I've never talked to somebody in toys. How do you break into the toy business?
It's funny. I spoke at USC yesterday at a toy class, and it was the toy business is like any other business. What I would suggest is, if you have a story you want to tell, or if you have a product that you feel like belongs in the market, you come out with it. And I actually just launched a YouTube channel that's around kind of designing products and mm-hmm. how do you vet the product. How do you make sure it's good, or how do you make sure you tease it? How do you make sure people are going to buy it, or how do you even know people care? When do you protect it? Do you go spend 12 grand in patent protection now, or is it after you've showed it around? Or what if someone steals it when you show it around? So there's definitely a lot of variables and a lot of layers, but the toy business is very competitive, but it's very robust and very fun. And I like to say that every year is a full reset. What mattered maybe, this year or last year doesn't matter anymore. We're always inventing and reinventing as much as possible, and just trying to stay ahead of whatever the market expectation or whatever the demand of the consumer is. So yeah, while staying on trend and while looking at whatever is moving, in a fast direction, whatever way on YouTube or TikTok. But yeah, it started with, I'm going to teach kids science through the lens of this character and make it immersive and make it fun. And that was a compelling enough product to start and open with. So you need that anchor product. You need that one thing that you really, really, really care about to bring to market.
What gets you out of bed in the morning? Why do you keep doing thing?
I think just the challenge of, competing with the big dogs out here, literally across the street from Mattel here. Moose is across the street. Zuru's across the other side of the street. Spin Master has an office down the block. I like to always consider myself at Base Camp 1 in my career and in my life right now. So if you talked to me last year, I was in the Uber to Base Camp 1. So I've come a long way from being in the Uber to actually getting to Base Camp 1. This year, I felt like I reached somewhere where I can stabilize and look up and say, okay, cool. I see Base Camp 2. I see the top of the mountain. We're going to get there, and just putting together the right team and the right folks to help us climb and get there is what really gets me excited every day.
Why not just cross the street and go work at Mattel?
Yeah. It's so fun.
401k.
We got a wicked 401k.
Okay. All right.
There's a powerful David and Goliath story, right, here somewhere. And I think all of the small guys, a lot of success stories in the toy world of, big home runs and grand slams that people have and have reached some great numbers with some fun items, and just putting your mark in the industry and being able to say I was behind that item. I want to be able to meet a kid or an adult one day that's like, oh, my favorite toy was a blah blah blah, and I'm like, that was me, I made that was my toy, right? So I had a cab driver, Uber driver recently that I told him I was in toys, and he's like, oh dude, he's like, I saw a toy in my feed the other day. You get to draw anything on paper, and then you take a picture of it and you play it like a video game. I was like, that was my toy. That's me. And he was like, what? He was like freaking out. But it was that was the first in 7 years of my toy career that someone kind of told me about my own item, right? And that's just one. So here we go. It's the start of it, I hope, of the items getting that kind of connection to the consumer. So in a way where they can remember it and even be able to regurgitate it and tell other folks about it. So that's truly an honor.
What do you think the world needs right now? What in terms of toys, in terms of technology? If I'm an entrepreneur and I want to build something,
yeah.
What do you think is the biggest thing that the world needs right now, given your experience?
Yeah, we're racking our brains as well, trying to develop things that matter, things that don't have a single play use, things that are not just slime and like I put the thing together with the thing and it's all sticky now and boom, and the great, it's like elastic and I get to just fidget with it. We're trying to create memorable toys. I mean, you're going to look back. Who's going to look back and say their favorite toy or this thing that sculpted their childhood was slime, right? Mm-hmm. Or was a whatever. So, I'm trying to create those legacy items where if I was to inspire a toy inventor, it would be, make something where it's going to be memorable, where people are going to have this kind of problem solving attachment to it, where they have to come back and figure it out. And once they figure it out, there's a reward mechanism that makes them want to come back and try it again in a different way. So, and it could be in the form of tech. It could be in the form of a puzzle. It could be in the form of, whatever collectible. But, right now I think the world is a little too focused on fidget and slime, and plush, of course, is still there. We got a new plush thing coming out that's going to be pretty cool. So
I mean, I still have these guys hanging out on my desk. I haven't got rid of these guys yet. These are from my childhood, and I still like them just because they meant that they did what the VR toys do for the modern kids, where it's like this was I was embedded in the world.
So what's a standout toy for you that you remember as your childhood?
Oh my God, probably like a one of those electronics kits. I think that was a big one.
Okay.
I never quite understood them, but I always got a kick out of doing them, right?
Cool.
Like building those little things. And
yep.
like erector sets, like the old metal ones that you could cut yourselves on. That was a nice one. Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. What's next for the company? What are you building out next?
We're launching a couple big things, with the Pixicade umbrella, with that toy I was telling you about, where you draw and play your own video games. There's a Star Wars version of that coming out, which we're super excited about. On the Nat Geo side, we've got a really cool globe coming out that's AR and VR, super fun. And then a really fun Barbie item coming out where you get to dress up Barbie in a bunch of ways and combinations of outfits, and she'll come out wearing the outfit and you can take selfies with her and kind of interact with Barbie in your world, which is super cool as well. Yeah. And I mean, and then, hopefully, the biggest thing right now in store is the ESPN item that we've got in Costco. That's just, I haven't seen, I realized something about ESPN. It was at one point just a license that we were, working with. And then you just realize that ESPN is more than just a license. It's America. It's like everywhere you go in America, there's an ESPN, there's a TV on in a restaurant or a bar, and it's always got ESPN on. And it's just a part of our American culture, so it's just a very interesting thing to see it in the toy world, because they've never really just been on a toy shelf before, right? Other than paddle ball or whatever, different
that's interesting.
Sporting goods.
FIFA, NFL, they've kind of like taken over like video games / toys, World Wrestling, all that stuff. But like that specific brand, interesting. Yeah, fascinating.
Yep.
All right, very cool. Well, Steve, we'll send folks to the toy store to pick up some VR gear, right, for the holidays.
Thank you, brother. We're abacusbrands.com. I'll add your show its own coupon code for everyone. You can get an extra 30% off or something. But I appreciate the love, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Take care.
This has been Keep Going. I'm John Biggs. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to Keep Going, a podcast about success and failure. Remember, Keep Going is entirely listener-supported. If you're listening to this, please head over to keepgoingpod.com, where you can subscribe to the podcast for as little as $5 a month. This is a labor of love, and every little bit helps. Thanks for listening.